Welcome, viewers. Welcome to sunny Northamptonshire. You're at Silverstone once again. It seems like it's only a month ago since we were last here. That's because it was. We're back at the Tanso TCR Championship, round 2, season 3. My name is Rob Sutherland. I'm joined by Mr. Jackson. Hello, Mr. Jackson.
Good evening, Rob. How are we doing today?
All good, mate. All good. So, we've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. First of all, we have just finished practice and we're going to start qualifying very, very soon. And no one at the moment is on circuit.
You say that, Rob. We've got 6 cars on circuit at the moment.
Excellent. Right. Okay. So I know someone that did something very stupid and joined as a driver, not a spectator. So as a result, I can't see anyone on circuit at the moment. So this is going to be a bit of a dark qualification for myself.
Yep. Well, at the moment, we've got, pretty much everyone. We've only got Elliot, James, Calvary Garton, JT Johnson and Nick Clibbins are the only ones who aren't on circuit at the moment. So a couple of people now finishing Sector 2, making their way around on the warm-up lap. I think the first car which will be across the line will actually be... I can't count backwards. I really can't. So yeah, we'll just have to wait for that until the first car crosses the line to start the first flying lap.
Right, okay, so as pretty standard with Silverstone, we have quite a long lap time, and examples of which are basically 2 minutes or 1:59 if you're a little bit quicker than the rest, which is what we saw from Calvary Garton in practice. So we've got a 10-minute qualification, and you've got to complete 3 laps in 10 minutes. So by my maths, yeah, hopefully we should get all 3 flyers done in that time. If anyone resets to the pit, they might not complete all of their laps, but we should see the first car over the line in a couple of minutes now.
We've got, it was just following now, Derek Crowler on track. He's just coming around the final complex of corners, because of course this version of the track uses the old start-finish line, which is now halfway around the circuit in the current layout of Silverstone. So as we see Derek now come around the final bend and comes up to the line to start his first flying lap.
Right, so countdown time is on. Let's wait a couple of minutes for that to complete. We are using the legacy layout. This is the layout that was chopped up, and all of the farm straight and all of that section was mothballed, and they put a nice brand new section in to the middle of the circuit. But we're on the old one, which means we don't get to see any of the little twisty stuff and the new pit lane complex, although that is in iRacing should you wish to choose that layout. The benefits of the legacy layouts, which is 2004 to 2009 layout, is it's free. I think it's free, or at least it's very cheap on iRacing. So that gives a low barrier of entry, and Tanso, because they like to provide a low barrier of entry, find that this combination is very good for enticing new to racing guys into iRacing to join in what is a social and quite a fun league without having to put too much money down for content straight away.
Yeah, so we're just watching Al Brown at the moment. I think he's the furthest car around on the track at the moment, so he will start. It's between him and Fraser Garrity. So yeah, he's on his first lap now. He's setting green sectors, so the personal bests. So he's not setting purples, but he'll definitely set a decent time, and hopefully he'll look to improve on it for his second flying run.
Well, he's going to be top of the board for a few seconds, I should imagine, until the next guy comes around. I think we've got 16 or so cars out there today, down by a few from the previous week, but we can see the majority of which have returned once again. There is a bunch of regulars here. So Al Brown's gone over with a 201.2. He should save quite a few seconds off for that. But Fraser Garrity with the 201.161's just pipped him in the other Insignia machine. followed by John Brown once again, who's also pipped in. Well, we're now seeing times coming in.
Yeah, so as all the drivers, like I said, setting their times, and they'll be looking to start as high up on the first race of the evening to get the rhythm, get the feel of the track, and see where they manage to position the cars in the final bit.
So we should probably keep an eye on Lovesy John Brown. If I look further down the list as well, I don't expect Callum Regarden to set qualification time. Nick Clibbins, who's very quick around this circuit, we should be able to see what he's going to do quite soon, I should imagine. The first lap out, they'll still be putting some heat and grip and a grain into their tyres. And the second lap round should be a hell of a lot faster, I should imagine, as is the way. And we can just see that 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 or 6 people haven't set a time at the moment.
Yeah, we've got Elliot James, who's just come crossing the line there to set his first time. He goes 11th with a 2:02.495. I think the only person now who's not fit is Ryan Dudley's, who jump on board as he comes round here now to set his first lap. All his sectors, his past lap, have been green sectors, so you know, hopefully he should be happy with this and he'll shoot right up to the top of the board, or near the top for him anyway. Yeah,
you can get some off tracks around this layout. They have changed the track limits on the other layout. See, Ryan Dudley's just gone over the line with 2:03.8. Brings him towards the back of the runners at the moment. And yeah, you can obviously get off tracks around Cops, Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel, as well as I think in Vale is one of my favourite places to get it completely wrong. But yeah, and also into the Abbey as well, which is quite a tight decrease in chicane. Quite a well thought out chicane. I think we're looking at Andrew Lovesy at the moment in the Igni machine. This is his first race of the season, currently third with a 2:01.185. And we're seeing some of the second times coming now. So Andy Lovesy's gone top with a 2:0 dead 0.5. Craig Walder's currently 2:0.8 has gone third. See if there's a reply from John Brown.
You see John's now, he's just gone through the Maggots and Beckett's complex. So he starts down the long straight now to is it Vale at the end of this straight? Or am I
hang a straight into Stowe.
That's it. I've never quite known the corners of Silverstone. It's just been one of them tracks that, yeah, I'm not quite familiar with it.
I know each corner because of the strength of wind that goes through them. Because there's nowhere in this circuit you won't die from wind chill.
Yeah, no, it's I can attest to that, because I went to watch the Grand Prix once and I sat on this very corner, and I've also seen a couple of endurance races there where you get to travel around the whole track, and there is definitely some windy places at Silverstone. Yeah.
They should really stick an airfield on it. It's so windy.
Yeah, it's like it's made for it, isn't it?
Absolutely ideal for it. We can see all times have been set, and we can see lap times have been set, apart from Callum Regarden and some other plonker who joined by accident. Callum obviously will do the last to first, and that should be especially fun round here. And he's sat in the pits at the moment. So 16 times have been set, 17 in server. And I think we've just got a couple of minutes left. I'm not sure off the top of my head if it will go the full 10 minutes or if it will go 10 minutes plus one lap. So we'll have to see.
That's right.
Top of the charts is Lovesy with his 2:00.5, followed by Brown with 2:00.7, and then Craig Waters with 2:00.8. Vastly improved performance from Brown this season. He really pulled up the trees last race in round one with a win in heat number 1, and I think he's currently second or third in the championship.
Yeah, he held Callum off, wasn't it? I think for a good few laps last race, so he'll be happy with that.
Yes, I remember that. In heat number 1, the first three cars were covered by 0.4 second, and it was a bit of a hunting session from Callum, who was very much up behind John and trying to find a way past the majority of the race. How many cars have we got to complete their laps, Mr. Jackson?
We have got 3 cars. So we've got Sorry, I just need to check something to make sure I'm getting quite a bit of chat back in my headphones, so I'll just turn that off. Sorry. Yeah,
all teams chat is never clean here.
No, we've got
viewer discretion is very much advised.
Elliot James is just finishing his final lap. Got JT Johnson just finished his, and same with Ryan Dudley. They've all pretty much just. Oh, is Ryan's not quite finished. She's got one more corner to go, and see if he can improve on his previous lap. But he set 2 green sectors out of the 5, so we'll just see if this does take him to the top of the charts. And he ran out of time.
So that's the answer to the question: how long does qualification last for? We know how much the grid is going to last for, because it won't be a quickie speedy grid. It'll be waiting for the last person to join, and the last person won't join. So we've got a couple of minutes now before the race. We will show you the qualification results up on screen now.
Yep, the qualification results are up, and we've got Andrew Lovesey there in first position with a 2-minute 0.5. 2-minute 0.5. Then Daniel Wareham in second, John Brown in third, and Craig Walters in fourth. Nick Clibbins in fifth, Fraser Garrity in sixth, David Smith 7th, and Al Brown in 8th. Mark Brown in 9th position, Derek Crowder in 10th, and Chris Perry in 11th, with Carl Linkman in 12th. Then as we move down, we've got Stuart Gibbons in 13th, Elliot James 14th, 15th is Ryan Dudley, 16th is JT Johnson, Callum Ringarten going for a back to front challenge, and then yourself, Rob, sat there at the back of the grid.
Let's ignore that idiot on the back of the grid. Promise I won't join. Let's go find the grid, and let's see who's currently sat on the grid waiting to start the race. We can see the Igni machine of Andrew Lovesey, and he looks like he's replaced the previous Igni machine of Neil Stevenson, who I think may not be continuing this championship after being very unfortunate in the round 1, getting caught up in a few incidents. Of course, Neil was the second place in last year's championship, and the season before that he in fact won it, so a bit of a shame not to see him on the grid.
Yeah, it is a shame not to see Neil, because he was like a stalwart of this league, and he's raced in the Tanso and in the SRL leagues when they've held them as well. He was just one of them dependable, regular drivers who you knew where you stood with him.
Right, so we're under 5 seconds now from the start of the race. The revs are going to rise.
And the lights have just come on now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And the lights are out, and away we go.
Right, so round number 2 is underway. What a fantastic start from the middle of the pack from Craig Waters in the red SRL machine. And John Brown just moves over the fence. There's a little bit of touch, gets on the rear quarters, and it's an instant into the barrier before turn number 1 for John Brown. That's an unfortunate start to his race for race number 1, but they're all through cops, mostly, apart from the ones we saw, obviously. But it's Lovesey out in front, followed by Nick Clibbins and Daniel Wareham in 3rd position, and followed by Craig Waters in 4th, David Smith. The yellow car in 5th. There was a wild green car of Al Brown, shoots off before Maggots, and that looks like he's going to be into the wall quite heavily, so he may take a tow and a repair of that. We will going to get a replay of that, hopefully towards the end of this lap when this does calm down. But they're on to Hanger Straights. Maximum defence from Lovesey, very much to the right hand side of the circuit, and we can see there's 2 Browns in the pits currently, and we can just see the Clibbins is just taking the outside, looking for the undercuts on the Igni machine of Andrew Lovesey, and further behind Daniel just loses it, just under a little bit of brakes, goes wide, and now he's going to have Craig up behind him. You can see just a little bit of side by side down. That looks like, I think that's Fraser Garrity, maybe Ryan Dudley side by side at the back.
Yeah,
it looks like Ryan Dudley's just dropped a couple of positions. Callum Ringarten's up to P10. And there's a flash of the lights from the green machine of Al Brown, who didn't get into the wall. Looks like he's recovered back on circuit quite well. Yes, it's another race. It's another round. That is another paint job for Callum Ringarten. He has moved to another team. It's 3rd in 3 races, I think. 4th in this championship alone.
It's a good job he's not racing for like a team championship, because every week he'll be getting points for different people.
And this is one of his other teams in front. We can see, obviously, this is the second round. It's Daniel Smith. That's a fantastic start from Daniel in the first few corners. He's up quite high on merit and on pace as well. As they go into Luffield, just taps the door of the Insignia machine. And he's just having a little bit of a battle now. see Ryan Dudley in this. Oh, I think they're all side by side for the start as they go over the line for the first lap.
It's almost 4 wide there. It's definitely 3 wide.
So 3 wide, lap number 2, in the cops. What's going to happen? It's like the altitude machine of Callum just takes it a little bit wide over the grass. It looks like he's going to get past Dudley, and Brown is going to take Opportunist as well. I still need to learn the paint of the 998 machine, and that's Ryan Dudley. And is that a smart Tanso paint? We can see the Honda. There is a smattering of the 3 TCR machines. We do have 3 or 4 Hondas on the grid today. So go up, hang us straight again. I think we could probably go back and take that replay now.
Yep, it is when... Oh, hang on. There we go. It's when John Brown went off track.
Yep. So we saw the John Brown one. It looks like he just moved over on Craig Waters, whose nose was there, and there's an instant little tip into the wall, heavily impact. Looks like he might take a bit of suspension damage there, but there was a accident further on, I think.
It was Craig. I think that was just class him going off the track there. But then Al Brown, it was the other incident.
So it looked like you just get a little bit of attack from the signal machine into Maggots, and it just flicks him wide. That is quite a good save. Bit of a jump there, bit of a style in. Nice little green Union flag on top of the car as well. Rejoins safely behind the altitude machine of Callum Reid Garden, and the 47 machine of Stuart Gibbons just sort of tucks in. So I think if we go back to live,
yep, we
should get a little rundown of where everyone is. We have got a timing tower on the screen. You should be able to see. Currently, the lead is Andrew Lovesey, followed by Nick Clibbins, Danny Wareham, Craig Waters, Mark Brown, and Fraser Geraghty. That's your top 6.
Yeah, we've got David Smith in 7th, Derek Crowder in 8th, Callum Garton in 9th, and Carl Lukeman in 10th. Al Brown in 11th, and Ryan Dudley in 12th.
And if you get confused with which car's which with all these paint jobs, the Hyundai are the ones with the rear wheels on fire, and you can see a heavy glow at the back there, and the Hondas are the ones a little bit shorter than the Audis. So we all go through cops, and it all pings up an alert saying some people are going off track.
Yeah, it was just Al Brown took a wide line there, didn't he?
Yeah, and you can see him just flick his way through the Maggots and Beckett's complex now. The green SRL machine. Just trying to see if there's any other fights at the moment. I can see Mark Brown is setting himself up on Craig Waters. A bit of a puff there as we can see an Insignia car off. That's Derek Crowther, so I think we need to see what happened to Derek.
Yep, we'll shoot back to that now.
So a little bit of a load in from Callum Reid Garden, just a little bit of a pit manoeuvre. That's a bit of a shame, really. That's not a lot you can do with that. You couldn't really catch on the throttle because the rear got moved around so fast. The grip really couldn't catch. That's a bit of a shame from Callum. It looks like a nice little pirouette, though, and Derek Crowther's recovered and facing the right way again. He's back on circuit. The next car up from Callum Reid Garden is the yellow and blue SRL machine belonging to David Smith, who had a fantastic start. He, I think, has been the cork in the bottle for the last lap or so in 7th position. And Reid Garden might get that done a little bit sooner because he looks like he had a much better exit out that last corner. Hopefully, Mr. Reid Garden, you can get this done a little bit cleaner than the last one.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall on the Discord chat on that manoeuvre there. I think there'll be some colourful language, definitely.
Yes, a few northern metaphors, I should imagine, came out there.
I think you'll need a translator for that then, wouldn't you, Rob?
I would do, yes. I shouldn't put it into Urban Dictionary. It would probably get me banned. Have the FBI at my door quite soon. So you can see the Hyundai machine with the rear wheels on fire. Just left the door open a little bit for Carl Lukeman. He's back for his 2nd race in a row, and it's very nice to see him back. David Smith, under a little bit of pressure, runs wide, gets on the grass. These cars don't like the grass. They do slow down quite a bit. He's just going to have to chop off the nose of Carl Lukeman to defend his position out to Luffield. Across the start-finish line for him. This is the start of his lap number 4. He's still defending. Oh, sorry, Lukeman's up the inside. Smith yields, tucks in the cops, sits behind him. He's going to get a cutback and an overlap and a run into Maggots and Beckett's. Just showing himself out the inside. And he's just going to drop a little bit back because he yielded a little bit of speed up there. If we go to the start of the race, the start of the pack, we can see how close Clibbins and Lovesey are at the head of the field. And there is a little bit of walking the dog going on here because Clibbins is right up behind Andrew Lovesey in the 2 Hyundais, the Excite machine and the Igni machine in front. And this is a fantastic little drive from Daniel Wareham, actually, because he's got himself nice and sort of sat there And defensive from Lovesley. We
Aye.
go on board now with Wareham. This is probably the best seat in the house, I think, Rob.
Oh, it certainly is. He's sitting there. He's going to be watching the two cars in front, hoping that they make slight bit of contact and run wide and lose momentum, so he can then just sneak on past and go up the inside or the outside, and inherit the lead of the race.
So this is probably my personal worst corner of the circuit, to be absolutely honest. It's just a bit slower and you have to all hang it out. Just want to see where Lovesley's going defensive. If he's going defensive a little bit early when there's not really a show on from Clibbins behind. We've just seen him trying to cover off a few corners up ahead, certainly on the farm straight. But we can go to the exterior shot now. We can see Clibbins and Wareham behind. And they just go around Luffield again. Just think Mr. Stuart Gibbons went off track and looks like he's crashed as well. So it looks like Mr. Gibbons had a bit of a whoopsie.
Yeah,
Further down the grid.
If we go back to that now then and see what happened with him.
I think he was in a bit of a fight with Elliot James because I saw there was a position pass. It looks like it just went a little bit long, got over the grass, got back on the track, went off the track again, rear came round. Didn't save it with a throttle, just rolled back, find a place to rejoin the circuits. Looks like he's done that. Stuart Gibbons is now down in 15th position, and we're back watching the car of Nick Clibbins.
If we're just looking on the event time ticker thing though now, Al Brown has passed David Smith for position 9. So we'll just have a quick look at that.
So this is Al Brown. That is a pass I would think's off the track, but I don't know if David Smith yielded for that or not. But that was an awful lot of speed held by Al Brown as he went off the circuit. So
yeah, I think both of them were off the track there, weren't they? And if we just go back and have a look at the Carl Linkman pass on Mark Brown.
So we can see the Shell livery car and the Tanso livery car. Lukeman's on the inside, following Reed Garden through, and looks like just lifted a little bit to tuck in to the complex, and that looks like a bit of a cut and dry. Mr. Lukeman does go quite well round here.
Yeah. And just as we're having a look around, I just noticed on the chat that Neil actually waved, so Neil's sat at home watching this. We do miss you, Neil, and we hope you do come back to race. And then also Tom Mayle must have commented on one of the incidents that we saw earlier.
Always a man with an opinion, Mr. Mayle. Nice to see Mr. Stevenson. I hope you'll sat there in your Tanso jacket with a nice little cup of tea, or Bovril or Bovril. It's up to you. I don't know if that's a regional thing. You drink Bovril over north of Birmingham?
No, I don't, to be fair. That could be like a northeast anyway.
Right.
But, yeah.
So I think we missed Daniel Wareham just have a little bit of a look at Nick Clibbins, and he just drops himself off the back. I think he had a look into Brooklands. It didn't quite work, and he's just dropped back out of Luffield now over the start-finish line for what is his 6th lap. And we're looking at Calgary Garden. He's just going to give another Insignia car a push, I should imagine. What's the back of this one say? And it's all over now. And that must be Fraser Geraghty. Oh, stat time. So, the last race, as we see, that's a bit of a close one, that, from Mr. Reed Garden. This is an absolute terrifying camera angle, Jackson.
It's yeah, it's like an aerial's eye view, I suppose.
Aye. Kind of makes me want to get off the car, to be honest with you. So one of the penultimate rounds, I think, from last season was Fraser's first win was on this circuit in the feature race. So he's got good form here and quite a successful previous race. As we see Reed Garden take no prisoners into Stowe. Does Fraser look for an undercut and a return, a serve? Don't think so. Maybe he's going to send it. Nope. Callum Reed Garden covers it off. And they might little fight this for the next few corners, I should imagine.
Yeah, I think it's one of these where one of them just needs that slight little error or a slight little bit of too much steering lock on to create a bit of wheel spin, and they open it up for the others. But I just noticed there Al Brown seemed to be diving out to try and get past Mark Brown, but he's a bit further back than what it locked in originally.
And it can be quite deceptive on these TCRs, as we saw quite a bit last season. Al Brown is back in 8th he's back in 9th after qualifying 8th. So he's doing a recovery drive after we saw him with his lap 1 off, and he's I think he was quite a lot quicker than Mark Brown in the last lap. So he might be trying to come back through the pack, line himself up. Mark Brown obviously returning after a few races off last season, and he's got all new kit now. We're getting used to a nice new bit of hardware, and we're going to see him quite higher up the field than he was last season. So it's obviously paying off for him.
Yep, and as we see, Callum, the biggest gainer, he's now up 12 positions into 5th place. So he obviously enjoys starting at the back and working his way forward. But as I just look over at the timing tower now, Andrew Lovesey, he's still got the fastest lap of the race of a 2:0.350.
And he's gone in long into the last section of that complex, and that's slow into Hangar Straight now. And Mr. Clibbins is just getting a little bit closer. I am wondering at the back, we won't go back to it yet because there's a bit of a fight on here for P1, but there is a bit of a tussle brewing all the way from 9th to 12th. But I don't think this battle in the first couple of positions is going to go away for the moment, as we see Lovesey once again defend.
Yeah, that's right. I say I'm just keeping an eye on myself on that battle in the back, just seeing a gap between about 4 or 5 cars. He's only a second and a half. And it looks like there Daniel was going for the, maybe again looked like he had a better run than what he actually had. It's deceiving straight that little bit there.
It is a bit, especially under deceleration at the end of it. This might be a time to go on board with Mr. Wareham just to see the way these cars handle the corners differently. Bit of a tight line there from Daniel. And she was down a little bit of a look earlier. And now they're into Brooklands, I think this is. So all so close, but they're all so far away. It's all about getting out this corner without superheating the tyres.
That's right. You want to keep the tyres as treat the tyres as gentle as possible, and don't have a thunderfoot on the accelerator as you're coming out of the slower corners, do you?
No, I think we missed a brown on brown action because it looks like Al Brown's up to P8.
Yep.
So I think we might have missed that.
We'll go back and have a look at that now.
So I think we're on board. They're side by side going through the first couple of corners. Yes, so
yeah.
Brown number M, he yields. Brown number A, he doesn't yield. He goes ahead, and that's the pass position.
Let's if we go back to the exterior cameras now. Again, the top three, they seem to have they've made a nice gap now of 2.5 seconds back to Craig Walters, who I think is now or shortly will be under pressure by Callum, who's just recently set the fastest lap of the race at a 2:0.3.
So the purple has been lowered on the server for race number 1. We have got a few laps left. I'm just looking through the pack, and yeah, so Reed Garden won't be too far off Craig Waters. Craig Waters won't let that position up, as is the norm. Mark Brown looks like he might be trying to fight his way back onto the back of Alan Brown.
And also one of the other closest battles on track is Chris Perry, which I believe is he a new driver for this round.
He is, but stat time, Mr. Jackson. He won the feature race from last week's MX5 race, which was at the Nürburgring, I think. I might have that wrong. So that's stat time. So, welcome Chris Perry, number 4, to Tanso Racing League's TCR. Obviously, you're familiar already with the MX5s. Good to see you here. And that's the Red Bull liveried Honda of Chris Perry, chasing down Ryan Dudley.
So
and Ryan Dudley's also in another. So we have a 3-car Honda train here. It's like a McDonald's on Friday night.
It's funny because it's true.
Yes, sadly true. And just going back to the start now, so it looks like it might be on again for the 50th time, as we see Clibbins run wide, and that's probably going to give a little bit of a run to Daniel Wareham.
Yeah, that's right. I think Daniel has done very well here. He's tucked in behind the two. He's managed to keep up with them both, and he's not made any mistakes. Been quite consistent. And yeah, he's put himself in a good position for potential last lap battle where it could cause aggro and gain him an extra position.
It's all kicked off between Ryan Dudley and Chris Perry. We did see Callum Regarden get past Craig Waters, but we won't look at that yet. But we will look at Ryan Dudley and Chris Perry. I don't think there was contact between these two, but they did change position a couple of times.
Yep. So if just go back to the replay there.
So side by side, I think typically this is when we switched off of them to look at the lead battle, as is the way of the sod's law. But that was it. Just holding Ryan off. Ryan was just holding Chris off the line there, and they've just had to get that sorted back again. So we should, I think, look at the Calamari Garden Craig Waters now. Which, there we go. Looks like Craig just got the inside line, bossed a little bit. Callum got the inside line, and Craig probably just let him have it towards the end, I think. So that's plus number 13 for Callum. Craig's probably going to hope that 13's an unlucky number for him, and that comes to a cropper quite soon. That's the four-way battle for 11th position between Dudley, Perry, James, and Crowther, a recovering Crowther, from the incident we saw earlier with Calamari Garton. I think there must be a colour livery with the rear spoiler and the wing mirror, so we can tell that that particular insignia machine is orange. And I think let's do this live on air. Let's go to Fraser Geraghty. He's in 6th position, quite nomadic. There we go. Black wing mirrors, black rear spoiler. There you go, viewers. That's the difference between them. Obviously, there's a few places between them, but normally that's not the case. But that's the difference between the cars.
But,
and are we on the last lap, Mr. Jackson?
To be honest, I didn't see. Let's just see if Barney, the flagman's waving a white flag. I just jumped to these three because they were the closest cars on track. 3 cars, only a couple of tenths between them. And again, right. I didn't see. I don't think this will be the last lap. I think it could be one more after this.
Yes. Sorry, yes. It is showing 18 minutes on the clock. Yes. So Barney Watch has been postponed for another lap or so. And this is the 4-way battle between a KFC machine. I think that's the first time we've seen Elliot James's livery. That's fantastic. I really don't want to see that at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on a Friday night when I'm not eating my lunch or dinner. But there we go. That's the world we live in. In between Heat 1 and Heat 2, I'll probably get onto Uber Eats, I should think.
We're going to say lunch and dinner, aren't they the same thing?
It's just a funny old week. We're looking into Stoke Hall now. Dudley and Perry are side by side with Elliot James, just trying to take advantage. That's the inside line at Stowe for you. All of a sudden there was no chance, but now there's loads of chance. Bit of a dodge from Crowther behind as he's now side by side. This is heating up quite lovely, I think. This might turn into a bit of a ding-dong towards the end.
Yep. It just quickly jump to Al Brown and Mark Brown, as again they are only a tenth of a second between them. And then also on track, our leaders Andrew Lovesey and Nick Clibbins. The gap has opened up, but just I went to them because the gap there was less than a tenth of a second as well at one point.
No, but if we've seen that little white mirage at the back, that looks like Calamari Garton lining himself up for a podium attempt towards the end of the race, and we might have to take a look at that. There's quite a few battles all over the shop towards the end of the race. I think, have we missed the finish, Rob?
Yeah.
How do we miss Barney? Oh, we're just going to catch it now, actually. He's over the line for the end of the first number race. Goes Andrew Lovesey takes the win, followed by Nick Clibbins and Daniel Wareham with Calamari Garden so close to the podium and a little bit closer to the wall. And looks like 4 positions going to be Craig Waters.
Sorry, I was too busy focused on Callum then.
It's just glorious. When you don't have to pay for it, it's glorious. And we can see the rest of the guys on your timing tower just coming over the line now. What a fantastic couple of battles. And it's amazing how quick a couple of minutes goes when you've got a couple of battles on the track. We've still got some guys circulating out there. JT Johnson, we've not mentioned him for the broadcast today. I think he was in an Audi last time. He's in a Hyundai now with the default livery paint on, so that's good to see. Come through the last couple of corners.
Yeah, and then behind him we've got John Brown as well, who's was still on the lead lap, which must have been just about, to be fair. And
are you all right, dear? Is it getting quite late for you?
I tried to mute there
this
quick.
is the second race. This is the second race in a row that we've had the first 3 position covered by fag packet type material.
Yep.
Less than a second between Lovesey, Clibbins, and Wareham. So, well, that's not a bad omen to have that for round number 1 and round number 2 in the championship. I don't know if anyone's told Chris Perry the good news yet, but in his first race for the Tanso Racing Group TCR League, he has decided to stick it on reverse grid pole. So Congratulations, Chris. I'm sure if he's in the Discord, he's going to be fed that good news. And there is a Honda on pole. As we see John Brown just cross the line to get some points. John Brown, stat time for John Brown. He is the second place in the championship. Or he was before that first race. This won't do his championship points any favours, I should imagine. Right, so we have a 5 minutes warm-up before the next race. So we're going to take a couple of minutes break, I think. You're going to have some coffee.
Yeah, wake up, have a quick boost.
And hopefully we're back just in time for race number 2, which is the reverse grid for 20 minutes. So hopefully we'll see you then. Welcome back, viewers. So we're going to do a quick little thing before the start of the second race. Mr. Jackson is going to take you through the official, classified, provisional results for race number 1. So while Rob does that, I shall stretch my legs, and then hopefully we'll be within a minute of round number 2.
Yeah, so up on the screen now we've got the results from round 1, and we see Andrew Lovesey there in first place, followed by Nick Clibbins, and rounding out the podium was Daniel Wareham. Callum Regarton ever so close to gaining a podium position from the back in 4th, Craig Walters in 5th, and Fraser Garrity in 6th. Carl Linkman 7th, Al Brown in 8th, followed by Mark Brown in 9th. David Smith in 10th, Ryan Dudley in 11th, Chris Perry in 12th, who inherits the reverse grid pole position. Elliot James in 13th, Derek Crowther in 14th, Stuart Gibbons 15th, JT Johnson in 16th, and John Brown in 17th. And we ignored the bottom name.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Join the wrong. Didn't join as a spectator.
Hey,
Kids don't do what he does. I was very much from the opinion that I will never ever do this in my life because I know better than this, and I did it. So there we go.
I can honestly say we've all done it, haven't we?
At least I did it for 2 20-minute races rather than like a 24-hour.
Yeah,
because that would have been depressing.
Yeah.
Even more, I should imagine. So, we're just closing up the warm-up ahead of race number 2. We shall remove the results from the screen.
That's right.
And that will allow us to see a little Tango racing machine of John Brown, who we didn't see a lot of in the first race because he was in the wall quite early on before turn number 1, which is unfortunate for him. Luckily, though, Tanso supplies a well-prepared unlimited fast spare. So all he had to do was go back to the pits, get in a new car, rejoin the race, and try and score some points. Right. We've got just under 50 seconds for the grid, so we'll put the grid up on the screen now.
Showing the grid now on the screen. So just have a quick run through it now. We've got Chris Perry in pole position, Ryan Dudley in second, then followed by David Smith in third and Mark Brown in fourth. Al Brown fifth, Carl Luckman sixth, Fraser Garrity seventh, Craig Walters in eighth, Callum Regarson in ninth, and Daniel Wareham in 10th. Nick Clibbins 11th, and Andrew Lovesey in 12th position.
Right, while we're in the middle of that, I think we just go to the grid and we'll see some cars that are joining. And we should be starting to populate the grid now. We've just got about 10 seconds to go.
There we go. We've got the grid. So on board, watching Chris Perry to see how his first pole position will go.
So first pole position, Tanso, revs are building. And the Red Bull liveried Honda.
If you just look in the background there, we've got a Hyundai was just rolling then, so we might have got a slight, might get a slight penalty for that.
And what a dreadful little start from Chris. He's on the inside, but he's been swamped by Audis and swamped by Hyundais and the odd Honda as well. But 3 wide they go into turn number 1. Bit of a tap up ahead. Looks like there are many positions changing, but into the Beckett's complex, we go quite a few cars wide. There's a blue cone being murdered all the way back as they're using all of the track limits, and then some more. Through they go. No one's gone off at a 45-degree trajectory yet, which is a lot better than last race. But the reverse grid does tend to give us quite a lot more fun, as we can see David Smith just trying to hold on to the lead there as he goes wide through Beckett's. And on to Hangar Straight they go for the first time. And it's 5 Audis in a row. This is old school, Mr. Jackson.
That's right. As up until the beginning of this season, which started in the middle of December, we only had the Audi on the TCRs, so it was always like a spec class, one make class.
And into Stowe, a bit of a slide there from David Smith. He gets points for style, but he drops positions for points. He just holds it in 4th position ahead of Craig Walters. Andrew Lovesey's dropped a couple of positions. That may have been a bit of contact for him. We might have to take a look at that later on. He's dropped down to 12th position where he started. So I think he made some positions and he may have dropped it. We'll see the insignia Hyundai in the middle of the pack. Surrounded by John Brown, one of the cars, and a little of a blinking car. I think that's Daniel Wareham blinking ahead, which won't be nice. We see an opportunist position taken by the Altitude Esports car of Canterbury Garden. Derek Crowther has had a crash. We'll go back to that because I think that might have been a bit of contact.
It's just get around these couple of bends now just to see this battle pan out.
That's a bit of avoidance there from Canterbury Garden, but he's turned that into a opportunist approach for a position as he tries just to scare Andrew Lovesey off the apex, but Andrew doesn't scare that easy.
So it seems to have evened out best it can at the moment. As I say that, just go to the front, the 2 wide coming into turn 1.
This is a Tanso reverse grid. Evening out doesn't happen for a fair few laps because we are going 4 wide into the complex again. And there is a car wide there, and I think that's Canterbury Garden who's making sure he gets himself involved in everything early doors. And a bit of a contact there between Craig Walters. Looks like he may have been loaded in that position, and the car of David Smith, who, unfortunate bit of contact there. That looks like a very damaged car. And that is Craig Walters, and a bit more damage. Or this is a replay. Just a little bit of loading onto Craig, and he's just flicked out. I think, yes, both of them are back to the pits. They will have to resume a fight a few positions down. We might have to go back and look at that a little later on, once this all dies down, because, as I said before, this is a Tanso reverse race. It won't die down for a while. And we're going into Stowe now. Lovely yields from Canterbury Garden, and the cars all over the place. That's Nick Clibbins further ahead. He's currently, I think that's in 5th position if I count my cars right.
Yep.
Ryan Dudley's dropping position. I hear more contact between Ryan Dudley and John Brown. I think the Tango machine just slides a little bit wide. Hopefully there's no suspension damage between these two guys. But side by side they go into Farm Straights. TCR racing, ladies and gentlemen, take a breath.
It's a good little action-packed first 2 laps there, and we've still got another 16, 17 minutes to go.
And we haven't actually caught sight of who's the leader for a while, because that looks like at the moment it's Mark Brown followed by Carl Lukeman. I didn't think Carl Lukeman was in a... Oh, yes, he's in the Shell livery car, isn't he? I think that's the default livery. Craig Fraser Garrity, who we won't mention because we've mentioned him at Silverstone before and bad things have happened. So we won't mention him at all, but he's followed by Nick Clibbins and the Alan Brown machine. Alan Brown, we saw he was quite quick in the first race, had a little bit of misfortune from that one and had to spend the rest of the race recovering.
I think
that's the gap between the first couple of positions. Sorry, Rob, I will let speak. Looks like the gap behind is led by the Dudley machine, where we see Callum Reed-Garden just trying to get past the pack. That includes John Brown. Aubrey Friend, you can say a few words.
I was just about to say, Alan Brown, I hope no one comes up the right-hand side of him, because it looks like his right-hand mirror is dangling down. So he's had some door-to-door contact with somebody on the track so far.
That's fine. He'll replace that from Copart, I'm sure, in the week. Or, knowing the iRacing damage model, it will just magically reappear after a few corners, I should think. It's not settled down yet, has it, Rob?
Nope, it's not. We should just see.
I think also Mark Brown. Yes, that's it. Sorry, that's what we were seeing. There is a battle for first position very on. Carl Lukeman, is this for the first time this season, is in the lead. Looks like a bit of a slide under braking from Mark Brown and Mr. Garrity. Mr. Clibbins is going to take advantage of that. Now Brown at the back. I think he might get freight trained. He just closes the door in time, which is good. Nice bit of an aggressive defence from Fraser Garrity there. Typically, in these TCRs, if you go offline, many cars will pass you at once. So it's good to see for that particular driver, who we won't mention. That didn't happen.
I think he anywhere else on the track, he would have got freight train, like you said, but they're probably on the shortest straight of the track, coming into one of the slowest corners, so he could get his defensive positioning done and hold on to that position still.
And he was quite offensive then on Mark Brown. There's a bit of a nudge under braking, just moved Mark's rear around a little bit. He had to lift, and that's why he's now back into the pack for Nick Clibbins, now Brown to take advantage of. Round the right they go, and he's just trying to shut himself again. This pack goes between defence and to attack within a couple of corners, at least twice. As we go on board with Mark Brown, he's just up the inside, back to the Garrity machine, we can see. He won't be too far away from Nick Clibbins, who looks like he's just got inside of Fraser, and that's a pass for third position. And Nick Clibbins, who we saw had a strong first race now, is taking advantage of this reverse grid, and he's into a podium position.
Well, unfortunately, he just carries a bit of speed wide, so he will just get an off track for that. And luckily, it wasn't fully grass, so he managed to keep his foot in it a little bit. But as we could see there, he must have lifted slightly, because he's dropped down a good 2 positions and behind Al Brown as well now. So,
sorry Nick, that'll be the curse. I apologise. But you've got it to all again, son, from 5th to 3rd. So, I mean, you're already plus 6th position. I'm sure you've got it in you. Don't look in the mirror, though, if there's not one hanging off, because behind you is Callum Reed-Garden. And he's looking to go as far forward as he can. The Altitude Esports machine sends it into stow. And that's the position lost again for Nick Clibbins. And I just want to see, I think, Lovesey and Dudley might be alongside having a bit of a chat. We can see the Insignia machine just shows himself on the inside there to Dudley. And that's just going to help out John Brown, because that's going to scrub his entry speed. It was a few minutes ago, Rob, sorry to interrupt, a few minutes ago, but I swear there was something we were going to look at in the first couple of laps that's completely erased out of my brain.
It was Derek Crowther crashing, so I've found the incident, so we'll just go back now and have a look at the replay.
I should imagine it's under a very, very, very big pile of other incidents. And you might have to talk about this one, because I can't see it, I don't think.
It's, he under braking, he just got tagged from behind. And I'll have to apologise, because I can't quite remember who's in the KFC car then. I think it was Elliot James.
That's someone with Elliot on it, isn't it? Yes, that's Elliot James. Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I didn't get that order done through those races, so there's no bucket en route to myself.
No, I think yeah, Elliot James just misjudged his braking slightly, and just tapped the back end of Derek Crowther, and it didn't look like he had that much damage or whatever. But obviously Derek wasn't happy, and he towed straight to the pits and has never been seen again.
So, as the delivery car makes his way around Cops for his 5th time in position number 13, we've probably missed another 89 passes in that time we were away, because registered trademark, it's a Tanso TCR Championship reverse grid race, and this is the kind of thing that happens. But we're looking at the battle for 5th position between Al Brown and Nick Clibbins in the Excite machine, and they go down the Hanger Straight, and I think there's going to be negotiation by the time they get to Stowe. We can also look behind as well and see Andrew Lovesy's also thinking about a bit of a look maybe. Under braking, here we go, tight line on the inside. You see the car dip at the front on the brakes, but dips a bit too long, he goes long, and that opens the door to John Brown to show himself up the inside. And Lovesy's under threat now.
Yeah, just looking on the timing tower there, Rob, from 4th position where Callum all the way back to 13th at Elliot James, each car is separated by less than a second, so it's fairly close to have all the cars, you know, that close to each other.
This won't do any good for the heart rate, Rob. This is, for my advanced stages, this is far too much excitement. Purple lap, Carl Luke went out front, which is probably the quietest place on the circuit right now, to be absolutely fair, because they're all over each other like a powerful moss, all behind. But yeah, he's having a quiet little lead at the moment, and Fraser Garrity's up into 4th. Nick Clibbins hasn't managed to gain himself any positions yet, so once again, my prediction of that happening has not come to fruition. In fact, he looks like, looking at that pack behind him, he might just do very well not to go backwards anymore.
Again, like you said, when the cars are this tightly packed, especially if you get onto the Hanger Straight, you know, if they get out of position, they can easily get freight trained and end up, you know, dropping places instead of gaining places.
So you can see all the decisions being made, where to put the car on entry. Do you show it down the inside? Do you make yourself busy in the mirror of the car in front? Or do you look to optimise your line into and out of the Cops number corner? Cops corner, Cops number corner, what am I on about? And you can see Lovesy just having a little bit of a dramatic look left and look right. Not doing himself any favours. He is in no way close enough to take advantage of that. And Ryan Dudley, I should imagine, is very much looking forward to catching Nick Clibbins. And why not? Because Nick's just gone off. That's scrubbed himself off a bit of speed. He's got another off track. And side by side down Hanger they go. And I think that looks like we might have a couple of moves on. Pretty much like last time. He's just going to leave the nose in. But Andrew Lovesley just has a little bit of a tap with Ryan Dudley going through Stowe there. Bit of a hop between them as the suspensions catch. Once again, John Brown, the ever the opportunist, going 3 wide.
I think he thought better of that move there then and just eased off slightly, but again with Andrew Lovesy, they're both sticking their elbows out, and that's opening the door up for Daniel Wareham there to sneak down the inside.
And that number 10 machine's probably got the pointiest elbows on track, to be honest. So, he won't shy away from this. When Craig Waters and Andy Lovesy gets together, it's probably, I should think they normally make a Marvel movie out of it, don't they? It's normally a bit of a fight between these guys. The bad news, Rob.
Yep.
The fights all the way up and down the grid are still going. The good news though is there is a new purple from Culinary Garden. The other interesting news is he got that when he passed Mark Brown for 2nd position. So he's moved up +7 positions now in the reverse grid. He's currently in 2nd position. Looks like there's a bit of a push from Fraser Garrity onto Mark Brown as well, to say, hurry up, either I want past or I want to catch back up again. And the battle for 3rd position looks like it's going to hot up.
That's right there, as Fraser looks down the inside and just sticks his nose up there, manages to hold the inside line and makes... oh, a little bit of a flash of the lights there.
Yep.
To Mark Brown.
And that's one of those classics you can't pass at Cops passes in these TCR machines. And that's going to maybe hot itself back up towards the inner hanger straight into Stowe again. Ryan Dudley has been, my ticker is going absolutely nuts because Dudley and Lovesy are having a nice little ding dong. Brown's there as well. I think we might have missed all of this. Lovesy's going very slow.
Yep, I just cut to it just as it was happening, and as Lovesy was going around the bend, Sorry, my mind's just gone blank. John Brown, I think, just had his nose up the inside, and it just knocked him, knocked him round slightly, which scrubbed all his speed, and yeah, made him lose a couple of positions.
So a bit of a throttle save. That's fight's gone back. Elliot James is probably the happiest man alive at the moment, because instead of having one car to try and catch and pass, he's now got two. And who doesn't love anything more than trying to pass a car in front? So Elliot's fully engaged now at trying to get onto the back of Andrew Lovesey. And yes, we'll see how that goes in the next couple of laps. 30 minutes through the race, nearly 40 minutes. The lead battle is about a second or so apart from each other, with Carl Lukeman and Callum Garton. They are lapping pretty similar to each other in the last lap. And the third position is Fraser, and then everyone else behind. Everyone else appears to be changing position at every other corner as and when they feel like they want to do that, to be honest with you. So at the moment, we're looking at Brown behind Geraghty, the new Signia machine, and the Tanso Racing machine. Both Audis.
That's right, we've got out of the top 5, 3 of them are Audis and 2 are Hyundais. But Callum, he said he's lapping. He's quite considerably faster than everybody else. His last lap was a 2-minute .41, and Carl Lukeman's last lap was a 2-minute 1.6. So
I think if we look back to the Al Brown machine, the green SRL machine, we might see a bit of a fight between him and Nick Clibbins. I think we might have just missed the pass for position between Al and Nick. But if we go on board with Al Brown, we should be able to see a little bit of a fight ahead.
If we go on board with Al Brown, I was just ready to go back to watch the position, but we're on board there now.
Right, so this is Hangar Farm, this is Hangar Straight, sorry. We're looking into Stowe, and we're looking to see if Clibbins is going to set up the car in front. So you see they just buck in between the gripping of the front and the ungripping of the front, and this is front wheel driving for you chaps.
Yeah, as you brake, your front wheels are doing everything, slowing you down, turning, and applying power to get out the corner. So your back wheels are just there along for the ride.
Aye, pretty much right, just being pulled along. I think we've missed a bit of a thing between Stuart Gibbons and Elliot James, the P12, I think. So while these guys are fighting for 4th position.
Go back and look at the replay there now.
Right, so, okay, that's them off track. I think if we have a look at the TV, we can see there's no damage on the car. Quite a lot of grass cutting, quite a lot of grass gymnastics. And it looks like it's just up the inside into Stowe.
It seemed nice far away there. I think it was just Stuart Gibbons just goes too deep on the brakes.
And he's going to be very thankful that there was a bit of time out there to help his deceleration. Lovesey's got himself back up into P10 from the misfortune he had earlier in the race.
Yep, he's even though he's P10 currently, he's still up 2 positions from his starting position in 12th.
Yep, reverse grid things, and he's just see, it was Chris Perry, wasn't it? So Chris Perry was the guy that we saw start in pole position in the Red Bull liveried Honda.
Yep, that's right. And Chris Perry, unluckily, is after quite a terrible, awful start, to be fair.
Right, okay. There was a bit of a contact. Someone went off a little bit. I think Dudley just had a bit of a drama there. I think we're missing the battle for P1. I think Geraghty, there's been a bit of drama up ahead with Reed Garton and Carl Lukeman. So I think we might have missed that. So we're going to grab that and replay quite quick. We can see Callum Reed Garton is behind.
I've got here where Fraser Geraghty. So yeah, we'll just we'll go back to the replay and see if we can spot what happened.
It looks like, did they both get a slowdown?
I wonder if I wonder if he got a slowdown. Because it just seems there's no fighting really there, was there, or anything? So
right. So I think time to go back to live, see how the fight between the first 3 is going, because we've only got a couple of minutes left. I think we've got about a lap and a bit.
Yeah, so I think this is the penultimate lap now. So as we come up to the start-finish line at the end of this lap, we'll be given the white flag.
So what we're seeing here is Geraghty in the lead position. We need to stop mentioning that he's in the lead. And we can see Lukeman just trying to fend off the advances of Callum Garden and the two Hyundais. We got Audi, Hyundai. Nick Clemens is a few seconds behind. I think he's going to be out of the shot for this, unless these guys decide to trade body parts. But let's go back to the start now, because we should see Barney waving a flag. And it looks like the Insignia machines at the front. We're on board now with the leader coming into the penultimate lap. This is Fraser goes in tops. Excellent. Right, so outer cops looking behind. We're looking at the shell liveried Hyundai of Carl Lukeman, mind blank. And we're looking at the Altitude Esports machine of Callum Garden as they go through the complex onto a hanger straight. There is a keybind. Fraser Garrity has a keybind, and he does use it at the best of times, and it does pop up on driver's chat. Oh no, code brown, and that's very much what he may be doing when he's looking in the mirrors, and you can see those two guys behind him. But hopefully we'll see some clean racing come up to the last lap as they go into Stowe. There's a significant little bit of a gain under braking from Lukeman. That's going to eradicate when they go down to exit the corner.
And Callum was pretty much bump drafting Carl down that little short straight there, by the looks of it then.
So into the tight right, the tight left and then the tight right as they go under the bridge. Garden just such a better exit. Sorry, they're not under the bridge yet. They're in the corner earlier before that. And there's so Garden, he just releases so nicely back on the throttle. He just gets such a better entry. They go into the even tighter left and tighter right. Yes, we're on board with Garden. And you can see how easy it is for him just to gain momentum through these corners. Looks like, I think, Lukeman might just be struggling with his tyres. You can just see them pushing on a little bit, just past the apex. He's still got a fair bit of lock turn. But this is the last couple of corners now. If you're going to do it, chaps, now's the time.
That's right. Fraser just needs to hold it steady now, just to get around the final bend. Apply the pressure evenly, and away he goes towards the line.
So, the feature race for round number 2, season 3 of Tanso TCR Championship means a return to the top for the Insignia machine of Fraser Garrity as he takes a fantastic reverse victory and his second win for his Tanso career. You can see all the other cars going over the grid now. I think that's a PB for Carl Lukeman as he finished second, and Callum Garden finished third. Nick Clibbins brings it across the line in 4th position, and we can just see some of the others. JT Johnson there in a Hyundai machine we saw last time. Everyone else is crashing. We won't show you that. But a fantastic end to the reverse grid race. Biggest gainer was John Brown, which was fantastic. We didn't see him a lot in the first race. So you can see JT Johnson just crossed the line. I think he's a penultimate finisher. We saw David Smith, who had he's had to take a files repair because he rejoined the circuit earlier with no bumper. So that's very much a new part from Audi, I should imagine. But recovery from David. He did have a very strong start to the race before he got swamped by the pack.
And of course that race there with the reverse grid really mixed up the drivers and gave us some fantastic racing. I feel that race, it was it was bumper to bumper. There was action all the way up and down the track.
Yes, when you look at the timing tower and everyone's red because they're all next to each other, you're going to be quite busy in the booth. We certainly were. And David Smith comes out of the last corner and over the line. Hopefully we got the vast majority of what went on in that race. It was a very busy race. I'm struggling to think if we've had a busier race than that, to be honest with you.
It would be, it'd be a tough one to call that. We have had some, action-packed races. I remember, was it Watkins Glen where no one could seem to make a pass stick? That was quite a busy race, but then this one, it was a busy little bee.
Right, talking about busy little bee, it's time for you to excel and to shine and to read out the final results of the feature race in round number 2 of Tanso TCR Championship. Off you go. So
we've got Fraser Garrity, who, I was going to say pole position then, but he came first position. Carl Lukeman in second, and Callum Garton in third. Nick Clibbins in fourth. Mark Brown in fifth, followed by Al Brown in sixth, and John Brown in seventh. Daniel Wareham in eighth. Chris Perry in ninth. Ryan Dudley in 10th, Stuart Gibbons 11th, Andrew Lovesey 12th, Elliot James in 13th, JT Johnson in 14th, David Smith in 15th, and then Craig Walters and Derek Crowther just didn't even finish. Even got one lap in, I don't think. So yeah, that's the grid for the final race of the evening.
Fantastic. I've just seen Daniel Wareham's team name, Team Matrix as Yorkshire Pudding.
Yes, it's that should have been changed to Team Matrix for this week. That was an admin error on my behalf. I thought he wanted it as Team Matrix as Yorkshire Pudding.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
yeah.
So you didn't just paste in Yorkshire Pudding because you were looking at it on Tesco's Direct or something like that. That's a legitimate admin error. Okay,
Yeah,
fantastic. Well, that's a fantastic end to our racing here at Silverstone. I think it's probably time to choose a driver of the day, and I'm going to give you first opportunity to do that, Rob.
I think I'll have to go with Daniel in race 1. I think he did really well. He was up front on pace alone in qualifying. He stayed with the top 2, and he kept it clean, kept it steady, and managed to gain himself a podium.
Fantastic. I got a message on Discord. I'm afraid I didn't listen. Who did you say?
Daniel Wareham.
Daniel Wareham. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
That's a fair shout. I can't help but give it to Fraser because right place, right time. Kept on the track. A lot of pressure behind, but that's a fantastic job. It's good to see the likes of Daniel Wareham and Ryan Dudley properly in the mix, doing some good little racing. So that's going to bode well for the rest of the season. I need to remember where the next round is, Mr. Jackson. What I've had for time. Oh, actually, I know. It's Donington.
It's
Donington on the 4th of February. So we're going back to the best track on the service. It's a national layout. So, Mr. Tanso admin, you finally picked the correct layout to Donington. Well done. That's going to be fantastic racing. We're going to have same format as today. 2 20-minute heats. And hopefully someone doesn't join as a driver instead of a spectator and cause lengthy delays to the start of each race. Yes, I think that's going to be fantastic. We didn't see, there is another talking point, we didn't see the Honda of Dan Mould this week.
Yeah, no, he's normally a mainstay of the league, but like you say, yeah, he's missing this week as well.
Which means we will have a new third place, I should imagine, because currently the championship was Reed, Garden, Brown and Mould. So I think we're going to see Carl Lukeman elevate himself from 4th position, maybe onto the first 3 positions of the championship. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves at the moment, rolling 2 rounds into Tanso TCR Championship. I think it's probably about time to wrap this broadcast up. Thank you for watching, chaps. Thank you for your messages in chat. Neil Stevenson, we shall see you for round number 3. It's Donington. You like Donington, you should come back. And from Rob Sutherland, it's goodbye.
And from Rob Jackson, it's also goodbye.